you've mentioned communication and getting in touch with people such as, Eminem and Nikki Sixx. And, Nikki Sixx is a big, big figure for me. And it's just amazing to hear that, you've been in touch with him. I remember when I was younger, I came across your IMDb page. And, I remember, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, hopefully I'm not, you appeared in a few movies. And I remember I saw a photo of you with Stephen King, which I thought it's like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it's because, I was, your band was like the thing that I was playing all the time. And I was just getting into Stephen King, and just both of those words colliding was like the coolest thing ever. Obviously, you've been part of one of the biggest soundtrack songs ever as well, with Spiderman and all of that, which I'd be curious to hear about that too from your perspective. But my question is, you've been in touch with so many influential and great people. Do you have a favorite interaction, a moment that was really special to you, and a moment where you were starstruck, or which one of those interactions you feel mention worthy the most?
I'm always starstruck. I really love my heroes, and I've been fortunate and blessed enough to be in the same room with a lot of them, and they run the gauntlet, as they say. I got to meet James Brown right before he died. Wow. At the Grammys, I believe. That was a surreal moment. I got to be about 20 feet from Michael Jackson on his birthday, because his birthday is August 29th, and my son Cody's birthday was August 29th. And I took him to the MTV Awards with me, and getting to see, the first thing they did was Britney Spears came out and gave a birthday cake and a little trophy to Michael Jackson for his birthday.
Yeah.
But getting to be in the same room with him was crazy. But I'm just as fascinated by meeting Eminem, and I got to meet Enrique Iglesias and Faith Hill and Tim McGraw, and let's see, Lenny Kravitz was a big one. I got to meet Gwen Stefani. That was really cool. And the night I met her, it was the night before September 11th. It was September 10th.
Oh, wow.
And the next day, and we were in New York City at a party, and the next day we went to Maine to start the Godsmack tour. And we were on tour with Godsmack. Meeting them, I was just as starstruck to meet Godsmack. I was meeting one of my hometown boys. We're both from Memphis, Justin Timberlake.
Oh, wow.
Meeting him, I was kind of starstruck. You know what I mean? Boys to Men, I was totally starstruck.
Yes.
I was like, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
I was like, you got one of the biggest songs in the world. And they were like, I know. It was crazy. But I met Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
I mean, just meeting all my heroes is definitely one of the fringe benefits of getting to go to those award shows and stuff like that. But yeah, I get starstruck too, man. I'm totally starstruck around all of my heroes. But I'm also bold. Like, I won't waste that moment. I'm going to go up to them. Because if you don't go up to them and say something, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So and I'm not. I'm a pretty shy person, but I just force myself to go up and say something to them. It's like when I met my wife. I was at a show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she was like a model, or she was working for a local modeling agency or whatever. And I was starstruck when I met her. But when I first met her, I went back to the bus and I told the guys, I said, if I don't go talk to this girl, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I ended up going back and talking to her, and we've been together for 18 years and have 3 beautiful children. And it's been crazy. But yeah, I get starstruck around everybody. But to answer your question, the moment that I was truly starstruck was meeting Nikki Sixx. I mean, when he was sitting across the table from me, like at a dinner table. And I said, man, forgive me if I stare at you like a crazy person. I said, please don't think I'm insane. I said, you just been my idol since I was, I don't know, like 10 years old, 11 years old. And I said, I just can't take my eyes off of you. And Nikki Sixx is one of those guys that you talk about charisma. Whoo, like he is dripping with charisma. Like he's like Prince, dude. When he walks in a room, it's just like time stops.
Whoa.
And yeah, he's got crazy charisma, man. He's got that, like Dave Chappelle said, he's got that orange aura around him.
Yeah. This is how I imagine it, because I've been, so fascinated specifically with Nikki Sixx after reading his books, and they're just so sincere and real and strong, and listening to him just, expressing his philosophical thoughts in his voice is just like unreal. And again, hopefully I'm not wrong.
A song for us called "Rest in Pieces." He wrote "Rest in Pieces." Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about, because I think I read somewhere that you've been writing with him on a few occasions. So yeah, I can imagine what's that's been like.
Crazy.
Wow.
Surreal. Just crazy.
Wow. And leading to the next song I've mentioned, I'm also very interested to hear about it as well. Hero, Spiderman 2, Chad Kroeger. How was that like? I mean, like, when you were doing that, did you imagine that it would become such an emblematic thing in culture in general?
Right. I knew that song was special the moment I heard it. And Chad was like, I got this song idea, and he said, it's really not a Nickelback song, and the guys in Nickelback don't like it. And I was like, well, let me hear it. And, he played it for me, and then we kind of figured out the kind of the arrangement and the harmonies and stuff like that. And once we figured that out, I turned and told my A&R guy, Rob Stevenson, I said, Rob, get in here. You got to hear this. So he comes in, and we played it for him, and he was just like blown away. And Sony was actually going with a different song as the lead single. They were going with a Sum 41 song, like a punk rock song that was amazing.
Yeah.
But once we did Hero, Sony like called and literally stopped the presses on pressing the single for Spider-Man. and totally made Hero the lead single. And I was just blown away by that. But I've learned in this business to not think any song is a hit, just to put my heart and soul into every song. And they're like your children, you give it a hug and you give it a kiss, and then you send the song out on its way. You know what I mean? And every song that I thought, oh, that's going to be a smash, wasn't a hit. And every song that I was like, oh, I don't know, it's just been boom, like crazy smash hit, So I did Hero with Chad, and then we were up in Vancouver and had a great time. And then I left and went back on the road with Saliva, and then went out to LA and spent some time out there, took some time off, got, cleaned up, and, didn't quit partying and all that. And got myself straightened out, and then I was flying back home, and my girlfriend at the time was like, this song is blowing up. I was like, what song? And she goes, that Hero song you did with Chad. I was like, what? And next thing you know, I was in New York City, and I was walking through Times Square, and this group of kids was walking by me, and they were like, yo, Spiderman, Hero. Yeah, that's awesome. And I was like, they're like, that's Josey Scott. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what is going on, dude? And the next thing you know, I was at the NBC studio, and Chad was in Vancouver and I was in New York City, and they had us side by side, like on one of those news interviews. And they were like, well, how does it feel to have the number one song? And I was like, what? Number one? I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, this song's number one this week. And I was like, I was just like speechless, like I am now. You know what I mean? And it was just incredible. And that song is so special. And I think it was a song that the world needed to hear, because that was, right after 9/11 had happened. And I had heard that they were shooting some scenes in the Spider-Man movie that actually had to do with the Twin Towers. And they had to scrap that and go back and reshoot the ending of Spider-Man because of what happened on 9/11. And I just think that was a really special song that the world needed to hear at that time. And luckily it's had what I call shelf life. It's had staying power, you know what I mean? And it's one of those songs that you can listen to and it doesn't sound like it was 25 years ago, but it was. But it doesn't seem like it was, 20 something years ago. Yeah. And even Click Click Boom or Always, I'm so thankful and humbled by that you can listen to those songs and it doesn't sound dated or old or out of sync or out of style or whatever. It still cooks, as they say.
Yeah, a lot. And I was actually just thinking about that because literally to this day, one of my most played streamed albums is Cinco El Diablo. And
wow.
I love that album. And I was just listening to it like a few days ago, and I was thinking how even in terms of production, in terms of studio quality and all of that, it's still, I guess it still holds a civil understatement, because you can't really say it's done like almost 20 years ago, I guess, again,
Right.
or 15 or 16 or whatever the case might be. And
Right.
I guess just speaks to, the approach you undertook when it came to this aspect of your career in terms of attention to details and whatnot.